Hey, it's Mr. Allred, and we're here on the solution for absolute value equations, practice problem 1. The question was, or the equation was, negative 10 times the absolute value of x plus 2, and then that's equal to negative 70. So remember on these, the first thing we want to do, if we have an absolute value equation, is we want to isolate the absolute value. Okay, and let's highlight that right now. That is the absolute value of x plus 2. So we try and treat this like it's a variable, and we want to get that pseudo variable by itself. So we look, there's no fractions attached to the absolute value, no parentheses, no like terms. We have all of our absolute values on the left, no absolute values on the right. So we're at the point where we would just divide by the coefficient. And that coefficient is, I apologize, that coefficient will be negative 10. So we'll divide both sides by negative 10. Of course, it'll cancel out on the left-hand side. And we do it on the right. The negatives will cancel out, so we have absolute value of x plus 2 equals 7. So now we're ready for, since the absolute value is by itself, create two cases. Okay, and then case 1 is where we assume what's in the absolute value is positive. If we assume x plus 2 is positive, we'll just drop the bars. So we'll have x plus 2 equals 7. And from the previous videos, you realize that I like to go ahead and write both cases down so I don't forget. If I stop and then I see this other thing on the side of my paper, I want to go ahead and finish it up here. Computer's getting a little slow here. But in case 2, we assume that x plus 2 is negative. So to make it positive, we change the sign, so that becomes negative x minus 2. Equals 7. And these are two very simple linear equations to solve. So all I'm going to do is get the lag is causing me a problem here. Get the x by itself. So in case 1, I'll subtract 2 from both sides. That'll give me x equals 5. And we'll check that out in a moment. At least it's a nice number. We'll add 2 in case 2. So that gives me negative x equals 9. And then I better go ahead and divide both sides by negative 1, because I don't really care for a solution of negative x equals something. I want x to equal something. So x ends up being negative 9. Okay, so right now I've got two solutions, 5 and negative 9. So let's check them. You won't have anything crazy happen, but it's good practice. So negative 10, absolute value of x plus 2 equals negative 70. So the first one we'll do, we'll let x equal our 5. So when we plug that in, we'll have negative 10, and then we'll have the absolute value of 5 plus 2, so that'll be times 7 equals negative 70. So when I clean that up, I'll have negative 70 equals negative 70, which is good, which tells me the 5 over here works. And then let's just kind of skip over a beat and do the same thing with the negative 9. So we have negative 10, and if we plug in negative 9, we'll have the absolute value of negative 7. And that will be equal to negative 70. So absolute value of negative 7 is positive 7. So I get negative 70 equals negative 70. So it also works. So I do get two answers here. Now, it may seem like every time you get an answer and you check it, it works. But we do want to get into the habit of checking them, because later on in the semester, as we do some more complicated things or use absolute values in a different way, they won't always come out the way they're coming out now. So let's just get in a habit of checking them, even if you just do some eyeball checking, plugging it into your calculator or doing some math in your head if you're pretty good at that. But let's always check our absolute value solutions.